Throughout time, people have searched for enlightenment, for something more than an ordinary life, or at most consider a successful life can provide. Beneath the veneer of everyday existence lies the secret of human destiny, promising something greater. A powerful procedure, encoded in sacred religious scriptures, hidden in myths, symbols, and art, has been practiced by the few who have known it throughout history to achieve an unimaginable transformation, to change from a human being into an immortal spiritual being, from a person into an angel. The foundation of this procedure is gnosis, which means knowledge. Those who discovered and utilized this knowledge are the Gnostics, which means those who know. The knowledge sought after in Gnosticism has a purpose, spiritual change. But what is this knowledge or gnosis that Gnostics seek and use?
Gnosis is spiritual knowledge.
A deep insight into ourselves, why we are here, where we are going, and what we can do with our lives.
Gnosis is a Greek word meaning knowledge, but it means a particular type of knowledge.
It's based on what you really experience.
Direct personal contact with the divine.
As opposed to a knowledge that we acquire through intellectual study or just theoretical beliefs.
We have to do spiritual practices. We have to do certain things in order to get these experiences.
You don't need an understanding of complex theories or ideas about how the universe works. It really comes from an experience that's gained through practical things.
This allows us to awaken. It allows us to reach enlightenment.
Hello, I'm Jenny, and welcome to the Introduction to Christian Gnosticism series, where we will explore Christian Gnosticism, its history, practices, and purpose. In this first part, we'll examine the question, what is Gnosticism? Gnosis itself, which is the knowledge that leads to spiritual awakening, doesn't have a historical beginning, since it has always existed, but it has emerged throughout human history in different forms. Anyone who has found and used this knowledge to transform themselves is a Gnostic in the true sense of the word, although different words or symbols may have been used to refer to it. The term Gnostic originates from the times of Jesus, who brought the Gnostic teachings to humanity and passed down in a hidden form the keys to the kingdom of heaven. It is from the teachings of Jesus and his disciples that Christian Gnosticism originates. Those who followed, who knew the true and deeper meaning to Jesus' life and teachings, were the ancient Christian Gnostics.
A Gnostic is anyone who attains self-knowledge. And there's been many people throughout history who have done that without necessarily being called a Gnostic. But historically speaking, the Gnostics, as they were known, emerged around the time of Christ and his disciples.
So the Gnostics are people that look for that spiritual, divine experience, the experience of what is true.
And this is what really distinguished the Gnostics from the general religious sort of public. The Gnostics were really mystics, people that were striving to experience things for themselves, to undergo an inner transformation.
There is a well-defined process for doing this, and this is the spiritual path.
The Christian Gnostics understood that Jesus' life has a symbolic meaning. It has a deeper meaning to it. His life symbolically illustrates the path to enlightenment, the path that everyone needs to walk if they want to awaken.
It's really a drama, a cosmic drama, Jesus' life, that has appeared in many different cultures throughout different ages and different places in the history of humanity.
But Jesus showed that path through his life, and Christian Gnostics understood that and used the teachings that he left behind in order to walk that path for themselves.
So the Christian Gnostic teachings really originate from the teachings of Jesus.
And from his 12 disciples who continue to teach and pass on what he taught. These teachings had two sides to them. There was the public side and there was the private, esoteric side, the hidden side, the side that the Gnostics were able to grasp.
Following Jesus' crucifixion, Christianity took on different forms. Some of the early Christians, the Gnostics, followed the deeper and more advanced side of Jesus' teachings, while others only saw and followed the simple and public side to his teachings. Paul of Tarsus, who proclaimed himself an apostle and taught a limited public form of Christianity, clashed with the disciples of Jesus based in Jerusalem, who were Gnostics.
Paul is known as an apostle today because he proclaimed himself an apostle, but he wasn't really an apostle of Jesus. He never actually met Jesus.
So Paul was initially persecuting the Christians, the early Christians. He then underwent an experience which the apostles were quite skeptical of. But in this experience, he then converted to Christianity.
His teachings were purely public. They lacked that esoteric side to them.
They were easy for people to understand. They were easy for people to accept.
The theology of Paul was more concerned with informing people how to behave, how to act. A lot of Paul's works actually comprise the New Testament. It's pretty close to 45% of the New Testament. In all of these writings of Paul, it's only once that he actually quotes anything directly said by Jesus.
He introduced things that were not taught by Jesus, such as celibacy, and in some instances actually contradicts the teachings of Jesus.
Paul disagreed with the Church of Jerusalem, which was formed by the original disciples of Jesus, on a number of different issues. And there's even cases from Paul's own writings where he directly confronts Peter.
Peter is the disciple whom Jesus called the rock that I found my church upon. But Paul undermined Peter. The Jerusalem church suffered a major setback when, following the Jewish rebellion, the Romans basically took the city and destroyed it.
And from this point on, the real teachings from the Church of Jerusalem went underground. But Paul's teachings continued to spread.
What most people would think of as Christianity emerged from that, from his version of the teachings.